alcohol, tobacco, firearms. Hey everybody, it's Luke with Figure Me Out, and today we've got something a little different. We've got some action figure surgery to do. Essentially what happened was I had bought the Power Rangers Lightning Collection Yellow Ranger, which is Trini, and the neck peg on it broke whenever I went to swap out the heads. I was able to successfully swap them out one time from the helmeted head to the unmasked head, and whenever I tried to swap it back, it went ahead and broke on me. So we'll take a look at it here. I'll get a little bit of a zoomed in view for us. So here's our super zoomed in look, and you can see the fault here lies with the fact that the neck is not actually one piece. It's two pieces that are glued together, and you can see on the inside of the peg there, it's just a brittle little piece of plastic. And what has come off is this little chunk right here, and the neck peg that lives in between that has come off. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this down, clean it up a little bit, that way it goes back in there smoothly. I'm going to put it back in here. Then I'm going to use some, let's get back to normal view. Then I'm going to use some super glue to secure that. In addition, I think I'm going to take the soldering iron here, put it on a very low setting. I've got a very fine tip on that as well, the finest tip that I own, and I'm going to basically just run down the side of the plastic after this is heated up and try to sort of weld that together. So hopefully it'll be a success. Stick around to find out. Maybe it'll be a complete failure. I don't know yet. This is my first time doing it, so I am an amateur surgeon. So don't expect anything crazy from me. Don't expect me to get this right, because I don't know that I will. So starting off here, I'm just going to sand down this joint. It was a little bit rough whenever it came off. I'm just going to kind of go around the edges there, get any of that really, harsh flashing off of it. They probably don't care much about the tolerances on this at the factory because you're never supposed to see it unless your action figure breaks, like mine did. So I'm going to sand that down just a little bit. Not a whole lot. I don't think it needs a whole lot. Kind of get the sides a little bit more flat. And this is just a triangle file that I'm using. You can get these pretty much anywhere. It sells tools. It's a really good tool to keep around them. Anyway, so now I've got that file down a little bit. I'm just going to kind of try and slip that back in. Hopefully it's going to go in fairly easily and not put up a fight. Hey, look at that. So that's what it should look like right there. And that's how it's broken. So next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this piece right here. I'm going to put a little super glue on it. Just a little bit of super glue. This is very strong Gorilla Glue. And so I think it says 1 drop per square inch. And we definitely have less than a square inch on her neck there. So maybe half a drop will do you. Yeah. So let me get my little kit here. Get out some tweezers, because I don't want to glue my fingers together. I've done that before, and it's never a good time. I've done it multiple times in my life. So let's grab this piece here and orient it the correct way, which is like this. And then we're going to give it the slightest, tiniest drop of glue. Oop, and I dropped it. Again, I am not a professional. Please don't try this at home. Don't ruin your figures. I'm only doing it because I have already ruined mine. So don't take any of this as actual advice, because I don't know what I'm doing. Alright, I'm just going to give it a little kiss of glue there. This back. And of course the tweezers are not gonna. Of course I glued my finger there just a tad. Naturally. I knew this would happen because, again, I am not good at this. I am not an action figure surgeon. I only pretend to be. I never got my license. Never went to med school. Not a doctor. And one thing I am going to do though, one thing I do know enough to do, I'm going to go ahead and keep working that neck joint and try and get it to not be still for too long. Because if it is, that could be bad. I'm going to take a little bit more of this glue and kind of just get it on the outside there. Just not even a drop, just a bit of a bit. Kind of wipe that in there. And of course, this is a cloth I have on here, so I'm not exactly worried if that gets ruined or anything. And we keep working that neck peg, and there's another little bit up here that broke off. I'm not as worried about that because the helmet is going to cover that. I mean, it's a very, very tiny piece, and the helmet's going to cover this most of the time, so we're going to not worry about that. That feels pretty good. And I cracked it again. Of course. I was about to say that feels pretty good, but maybe I'm just not good at this. Doesn't matter. Alright, so I'm going to let that sit for a little bit. I'm going to quit messing with it. In the meantime, what I am going to do, I'm going to go ahead and plug our soldering iron in. Now this one actually has different settings. Yeah, you can see there's temperature settings on it. I've got it set to the lowest possible setting. I don't know what the melting point of this plastic is, but I can't imagine it's very high. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug my second light. That was the first light. Go ahead and unplug my second light, plug this in, and we're going to wait. And I'll probably throw a nice little song in here or something. Alright, so it's been a little bit now. I don't know how long it takes this thing to get hot. I'm assuming not very long. Taking a look at that. So it is actually hot enough to where it's melting through this plastic fairly easily, as you can see. This is the packaging for the glue there. So what I'm going to do is, while this is still not incredibly hot, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of touch the side here. See what kind of trouble we can get into as far as that goes. Hopefully we can get some sort of melting action going on that, and it does look like we're definitely making some sort of an impact. Not sure if it's positive or negative yet, but I guess we'll find out. And same thing on the other side. Now once you get the helmet on there, we're not going to see this so much, so that's okay. I'm not as worried about that. Really just wanted to solder that joint together. Not even solder, just kind of melt. Kind of melt that plastic and get that joint to sort of sit together. This is ugly, I know. It's an ugly, ugly process. I'm just gonna kind of touch it up there just a bit. Alright. We're going to call that good. I'm going to go ahead and unplug my soldering iron here since we're done with it for now. I don't like to leave those things plugged in. Anything that generates heat, you don't want to leave plugged in any longer than you have to. But I'm going to let this cool off for a little bit. I'll probably throw some more music in here. Got this Black Widow the other day. I think it's pretty cool. It's a Target exclusive one. It's Deadly Origins, I think is what it is. But it's a pretty cool figure. Definitely one of the cooler female figures they've ever done. Also in the background there, got my assistant's Dr. Strange, and then Night Nurse Claire. So thought they could help me out with the procedure here. Alright, so that's been sitting for a little bit. I don't know if that took or not. As you can see, the neck joints, let me see if I can zoom here. As you can see, that neck joint where we glued it back together when we soldered up the side, kind of melting that plastic, this side more so than the other. Hopefully that's enough. The neck does still go back and forth. I am kind of pulling on it with a little bit of force here, and it doesn't seem to be breaking. Real test. True test time. Here we go. Let's see. I want to do that head. I think I just want to do the other head for now. Let me try the original, the helmet head. Let's see what happens. So I got the helmet on there. We've got rotation, and again with that helmet on, you really can't see even where we did that, so that's all right. And then let's try and pull that off, and hey, it came off and it didn't take the peg with it. That's awesome. So that's first, and then let's try the second one here. I'll put the Trini head on. Ooh, that one's a little tight. I'll tell you what, the Trini head's a little tight on this. I'm not gonna put that on. I'm not gonna risk it. I'm gonna call it good with what I got. I was wanting to have the Power Ranger, the Ranger head on there anyway, so I'm gonna call that good. Call that a success. Just got the Ranger head. We can take it off and put it back on, and it doesn't break. So, a successful surgery. Thank you, doctor. Thank you, nurse. We're gonna call that good. If you have any questions about this, leave them in the comments below. Again, I am not a professional. I am just some guy who didn't want to have to buy a second Yellow Ranger because they're going for crazy money right now in the aftermarket. So if you have any questions, throw me a comment. Hit like, hit subscribe, and in the meantime, until we meet again, happy collecting, y'all.